Today is Thursday, August 26th, 2021. This is DIRTRACKR Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. Coming up, we're talking last night's World of Outlaws win for Brad Sweet, Robert Ballou winning at Kokomo. We preview tonight's racing action, including a comparison of the Outlaws and Lucas points battles, and a bunch more. Before we dive in, if you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, and hit those follow and notification buttons depending on where you consume this. Make sure to follow at DIRTRACKR on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget, DIRTRACKR.com has a bunch more cool dirt racing stuff. It's always interesting to me to go take a look at my YouTube stats. The majority of people that watch this show on YouTube actually don't subscribe to the channel. It's something like 80 or 85% of my views come from people that don't subscribe. I certainly appreciate everyone that tunes into this show, but if you want to make sure you don't miss future episodes, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, follow on Spotify, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Again, that will make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Now, let's get going to what you really want to hear about. The World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series and the River Cities Speedway is a combination that rarely disappoints, and last night's show was no different. Leading into the race, we talked on the show yesterday about David Gravel and Carson Macedo needing to start taking steps to run down Brad Sweet for the championship, but the KKR 49 bunch showed why they are two-time and defending series champions. They had a decent showing earlier in the night, going 9th quick in qualifying and making the night's dash with a 3rd to 2nd run in their heat. They drew 5th for the dash, and that's where they ended up finishing. And before halfway in the feature, you wouldn't have really even known they were racing. The focus was very much on the front, and Sweet actually backed up at the start. At one point, I saw he was in 8th. As the laps ticked off, though, and Carson Macedo and Sheldon Haudenschild battled out front, Sweet quietly worked his way forward. Macedo led the first 28 laps, with Haudenschild rolling by him in lap traffic on lap 29. With 5 laps left, Sweet made his presence known, moving into 2nd and taking off after the NOS 17. Lap traffic was brutal the entire race, and it ultimately did Sheldon in. Wayne Johnson was just fast enough to make things difficult for Sheldon, and that allowed Sweet to close up. On the final lap, Sweet jumped out in front in turns 1 and 2 and beat Sheldon back to the checkered in a drag race. When it mattered the most, Sweet was fast, and last night's win was not only number 15 of the season, it extended his championship lead over both Gravel and Macedo. Macedo ended up 3rd, Donnie Schatz 4th, and Logan Schuchart was 5th. After winning on Sunday at Huset's, Gravel was never really a factor, starting 8th and finishing 6th. With as stacked as this season is in terms of teams and drivers, I thought we'd have a tighter battle for the championship, but Brad Sweet just continues to show how good of a driver he is. That team gets it done when they need to, and it's starting to look like we're on the verge of 3 championships in a row. The Outlaws are back Friday at I-80 Speedway in Nebraska. At Kokomo Speedway last night, we had the Bob Darland Memorial for 410 non-wing sprint cars. It was a nice little preview for what we're going to see over the next 3 nights for the SmackDown. In the feature, Emerson Axsom was super impressive in his new drive with Clausen Marshall. Believe I heard it was his first time there in a sprint car, and he was good, especially early on. He led a bunch of laps from the outside pole. The track did change, though, quite a bit from start to finish, and the top got really treacherous, more so in turns 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. Axsom made a few mistakes late that wiped out his big advantage, and that let Robert Ballou by for the lead. Ballou himself, though, almost threw it away with just a few laps to go, getting big time sideways in 1 and 2. I'm not sure how he didn't spin it or stall it out. In the end, though, he was able to hold off Logan Seavey for the $3,000 win. Seavey ended up 2nd, Axsom 3rd, Tanner Thorson 4th, and CJ Leary was 5th. It was a nice win for Ballou, who hasn't been much of a factor with USAC in the past 2 months. He started out the season really strong and was fast through the month of July. We certainly talked about him quite a bit on this show. But since Plymouth in July, he's had 7 finishes outside the top 10 in his past 11 races. At one point, it looked like he could be a factor for the championship, but has since faded to 6th. He's over 300 points behind Brady Bacon. As for Axsom, leading laps and grabbing a podium against what was basically a full USAC field was really fun to watch. He's been so good in the midget, and it's great to see that talent transfer over to the sprint car. He's definitely one to watch, I think, for the rest of the season and, of course, in years to come as well. Looking ahead to tonight and the weekend, SmackDown officially gets underway with the first of 2 prelim programs. Tonight and tomorrow are full normal race nights, with the features paying points toward determining Saturday's lineups. Kyle Cummins won both prelim nights in 2020, while Tyler Courtney took down the finale, leading the final 13 laps. The USAC competitors don't have to worry about Sunshine, though, as he'll be off in Pennsylvania with the All-Stars, but there will be nearly 50 cars in attendance to contend with. The USAC National Sprint Cars have already made 1 trip to Kokomo this season. That was back during Indiana Sprint Week. Justin Grant was the winner that night in a rain-shortened affair. He won over Brady Bacon, KTJ, CJ Leary, and Thorson that night. Unlike some of our other national dirt series, the USAC Sprint Car Championship is still very much in doubt, with Bacon only leading KTJ right now by 39 points. There's still 17 race nights left this season, so a lot can and will happen. Hot laps are scheduled for tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so as they say, get your ass to Kokomo. Elsewhere tonight, both the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series and the World of Outlaws Late Model Series begin 3-race weekends. Lucas is headed to Port Royal and the Outlaws are at Davenport. Lucas guys are racing for over $200,000 in purse money over the next 3 days, with tonight paying $10,000 to win, Friday paying $12,000 to win, and Saturday a nice $30,000 to win. Kyle Larson and series points leader Tim McCreadie were Port Royal winners in 2020. The Outlaws are racing for similar money at Davenport, with two $10,000 to win shows leading into Saturday's $30,000 to win finale. The interesting contrast between the two series right now is the points battles. The difference between first and second is nearly identical, with McCreadie leading Jonathan Davenport by 155 points and Brandon Sheppard leading Chris Madden by 158. But those two leads are very different because of the way the series points break down. Sheppard's lead is actually much larger, with effectively 2 points per position being the difference. Sheppy's lead over Madden is basically about 79 spots. But Lucas is about 5 points per position, except the top 4. There's actually 20 between first and second, and then 10 between second and third and fourth. So McCreadie's lead is actually 31 positions or even less, depending on how they run. So 31 versus 79. If JD got hot and McCreadie had trouble, this championship could turn around in basically 2 nights. As for the Outlaws, Bishop's lead is much safer, and Davenport is a track he dominated at in 2020. Wins this weekend could be just what he needs to really knock Madden out of this fight. I'd expect strong fields for both series, and both weekends are available on the streaming services. It's definitely a good weekend to be a dirt late model fan. If you're a sprint car fan of the winged variety, even though the Outlaws are off, there is plenty of good racing to come tonight. The All-Stars are kicking off a 4-day run through Pennsylvania with $6,000 on the line tonight at Grandview Speedway. Danny Dietrich is the most recent winner at the track, and Tyler Courtney still holds a big 296-point advantage in the standings. We will see a few different drivers tonight, with the Swindell Speed Lab 39 being piloted by Parker Price Miller, and JJ Grasso taking the reins of the McGee 11. Spencer Baston is taking the weekend off because his sister is getting married, so Grasso is filling in. If you want to stay up a little bit later as well, the NARC King of the West sprint cars begin the fastest 4 days in racing tonight with the opener at Merced Speedway. Dominic Scelzi currently holds a slight 6-point advantage over DJ Netto for the title. We've had 6 winners in 9 races so far, with Scelzi on top with 3 victories. There are rumors floating around that Justin Sanders is going to pilot the Works Limited 57 all week, with Paul Silva crew chiefing, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Could certainly be a potent combination. In other West Coast sprint car news from yesterday, Country Builders Racing will have Austin McCarl behind the wheel to finish the season. Kyle Ophil has decided to step away from racing, but the Ophil family wanted to keep fielding a car. McCarl will debut with the team next weekend at the Louis Vermeil Classic, and then they will run with the World of Outlaws during the West Coast Swing and mix in some King of the West and 360 shows to end the season. There are 9 shows on the streaming schedule for today, including the World of Outlaws late models on Dirt Vision, the All-Stars at Grandview, the SmackDown at Kokomo, and the King of the West all on Flow Racing, and the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series on MAV TV+. To see the full daily streaming schedule with links to watch, visit DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. I hope you have a good Thursday. If you have thoughts about the topics on today's show, please leave them in the comments below or tweet at me. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for more DIRTRACKR Daily.